this begins our PLC meeting, which includes our review of our DRA data that just came back that we're going to take a look at together. And talk about where our students are and talk about where we think they need to be for the next assessment, which is winter. That usually takes place, gosh, I can't remember if it takes place before, probably after the winter break, I think I'm going to say. Probably takes place after the winter break. So we know that our end of year goal is that students be at a level 28. So as we're looking through this data now, we just want to take a look and see where everybody is for the fall and kind of have a discussion to talk about who is faring really, really low, who's on grade level, and how will we meet the needs of our students who are already performing at the end of school year level, and how will we maintain them there. Machine. I'm a school next. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Who is Elijah Moorfield?
He's sped. He's new to ECA.
So they should enter second grade at a level 16. I forgot to say that.
I thought it was a 16.
They're supposed to enter at a level 16.
Okay.
They end first grade 14, and then they have that summer jump where they expect for them to have at least grown a level over the summer. Most of the time we experience, at least for our kids, that is not always the case. So I'm also looking at, for those who do have scores for spring, whether or not they improved or back to sleep. Alright. As I look at the data for my class, they all fell just about how I thought they would fall when I look at the numbers. I am surprised by Ariel. Who? Ariel. Oh, Ariel. Yeah. Alright, so let's start with Ms. Lindo's class. So let's start with our high achievers.
Okay.
From your class. Who are they?
I'm basing this on 28 and up. Kevin Jackson, Araya King, Sanaya Williams, Debbie Young, Mariella Samuel, Angelina Braswell, and Esther Joliami. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7 in that group.
I think I'm surprised in this group by Kevin Jackson. I'm happy that he made gains from the spring until now. But when he's with me in the small group, he tends to struggle with the comprehension piece. But, you know, this tells me that this is something that I can work with him on if he's scoring this on the DRA.
Is there anybody else in this group that struggles with comprehension?
I would say sometimes Sanaya, she jumped 2 from 24 to 28. They're kind of like in the same area with the, when it comes to key details and truly understanding what happened in the story, they tend to veer off.
Okay, so I put stars next to them because that means during the intervention block, those are 2 that you probably can pull just, you know, for
those
comprehension.
Okay.
So when you use that continuum with the DRA, and it has that page where it has like the retelling, and it has the other areas of comprehension, and it has some little suggestions that you can use or strategies. Then once you figure out by looking at that rubric what in their comprehension is the thing, then you can give them intervention on it during the intervention block and see if it improves when you start to question them about what it is that they read. Because, or it could be, you know, that they're not doing the summary properly. So, Miss Mitchell, who are your, I guess I shouldn't say high achievers because we have some high achievers, but advanced is a better word. Who are your advanced?
In general, overall?
According to this data.
Ava, Nakaya, Ashley. We're doing the 28 and above.
28 and above.
Amani, Kiera, Christian, and Darius.
Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good, 7, 2. And that's generally the max that you probably want to have in a small group. I started with the advanced students because we always leave them out, not on purpose, but because they're doing so well, we kind of really put our focus on the kids who are struggling and we forget about them. But I wanted to approach this data a little bit differently by starting with them first and really having us to think about how many kids are in that group of kids. And already, because I know you guys have looked at this data before, today, if you are meeting with them, is that a group in your guided reading? Are they one group or you have them grouped some other way?
For the most part, they are in the same group. I haven't had a chance to change my groups, which I wanted to do, because my groups right now are based off the NWA data. But now that I have this, but it's similar to, it's very much similar. So it's just a few changes. I was thinking, even though Kevin scored the 28, because of that comprehension piece, maybe I wouldn't put him in an advanced group. Does that make sense or no? Or would I leave him there?
Because he has a 28, would you leave him? Yeah.
Leave him there.
Because he's
where
at the
he's
end.
At. Okay, understood.
And so if that's where he is, we could say that we expect for everybody to go another level. So he's going to be at 30, so he's still going to be above where everybody else is. And working with the other teams that I've been working with lately, with my going around to kind of observe small group instruction, I've been finding out a lot of things. I know a lot of teachers have about 4 groups. But I've been going around, you have had me last year, so I'm teaching them to order their small group in the way that I already taught you. So you're going to be next. But everybody else is kind of having a hard time with it because it's so different than what they were already doing. And I didn't know because I didn't have K1 last year. And then you're new. So I have to do it all over again, which I love to do. Some people think it's a burden. But what I'm bringing that up because they're afraid of having 7 kids in a group. So they have 4 groups because they're trying to make them very little. But all of the things that have to take place in a small group require about 20 minutes. So if you have 4 groups, you only have 15 minutes or less. And so you really can't do the work that you need to do in the small group in order to actually make sure that you are giving them practice with a skill or a new concept and having them to actually walk away with practice. Now this advanced group of kids, that DRA template that I gave you guys, I'm going to give you again and actually work with you and model how to use it. I really want to make sure, if you haven't been already, to incorporate the use of that tool, especially with these kids, because they can get it, pick it up, and keep on running with it and have that practice, because it's only going to make them soar on this assessment, because it really is different in the way we teachers speak,
Right.
you know, in our regular talk, and then we want to give them this assessment and ask them to write this summary and to answer these questions. It's a little bit different. So if you haven't been doing that, I want us to get back to that. And Ms. Mitchell, I'm going to give you some individual practice with what I'm talking about. So let's go to the next group of kids. Let's go now to the middle. Who are your middle people, Ms. Mitchell?
Okay. So that would be 16 to 18. I mean 16 to 28, correct? Dwight, Daquan.
16 to 24, sorry.
Okay. Lanaya, Damanye, Mackenzie, Tyreek, Eric, Ariel.
Add the 14 in this group too, because what's going to happen is we'll end up having those 14s in the group of kids who are already way below that, because they're 14, they will be pushed to 16. Let's add them.
Kamari. And then Damanye was already.
So how many is that? Let's see.
Rashad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, this is how issues go. So, Miss Lindo, how many do you have in your who do you have in your middle group?
I have, you said 14, right?
Yeah, I would say let's push
okay.
them to the middle.
Alana, Amir, Layla, Nyla, Kimora, Zariana, Dakota, Donnell, Kimonte, and Markangelo.
And that's a lot. So, do we generally see that our middle group is our largest group?
Yes.
Yeah, I generally see that too. So that's a large. You have 9 and she has 10. And let's see who our strugglers are.
I only have
1, 2, 3,
4.
4, 10, 7. And Ms. Mitchell, you have 3.
According to this data.
According to this data.
And 2 out of my 4 are sped.
Okay.
And they usually get pulled out during small group time.
Okay. So of your 3 and 4, how many have plans already? Who are on intervention plans already?
On my low?
Outside of kids who have their SPED, who have SPED. Is there anybody who is not in SPED but is a struggling reader and needs an intervention plan that we haven't talked about already?
Good afternoon. Please pardon this interruption. Ms. Falcon, please down 221. Ms. Falcon, down 221. Thank you.
For me, Caleb Dodd is on a plan.
He is.
Yeah,
I
he's
know.
on the RTI.
Okay.
Anaya Davis, her issue is the fluency.
She can be on a plan for fluency, definitely.
Okay. So I can type something up for her.
So Ms. Mitchell, I know you mentioned Malika.
I did mention her. I haven't done the paperwork for her,
Mm-hmm.
but she's one that I could definitely I can do the paperwork and get it to you. Her issues is with fluency and reading comprehension. She's new to our school.
Okay.
Joelle, we talked about.
Yeah,
He's
I
on.
have talked to Ms. Schultz already,
Okay.
and we're going to try to fast track him. So I'm just waiting to hear back from her about what I have to do that, but she has his name.
Okay. And then Zion, we just talked
just
about.
got finished talking about. So, okay. Now that we've gone through all of our groups and thought about who would fit with whom, we're going to go through these questions to help us to kind of figure out how we should group them differently now that we have this data, especially if you haven't changed your groups based on this data already for guided reading. Now, during your intervention block, I know that you are meeting with your struggling readers during that time. But we need to talk about, because there's just a few of them, but there's so many of the middle group, how we can split that group up and still meet needs. Because you can do that. This group of 9, middle group, the middle group of 9, because you only have 4 who are reading low, how we can kind of, based on miscues, so the questions that I'm getting ready to ask now, as we continue to kind of really think about the data, how they could fit together even though they might not be on the exact same reading level. How can we group them to maximize their learning time? Because there may be some commonalities based on the data that you can still meet the needs. So once I model for you what that looks like, they're going to be reading independently a lot, even though they're in front of you, and you'll still be able to reach where they are. So it won't, I mean, it matters, but you'll be able to do it once I show you.
So for this piece, can we try to pull Ms. Prince in here? Because I did not do, she did all of my DRA, so she would be the, and I haven't had a chance to look over. I can go for that.
I don't know, you think she'll be able to come?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll ask her.
So,
She's gone. Can I add? Okay, so I have 4 groups, and I have 2 middle groups. So should I combine them?
I will combine them so that you can try to have, well, see, you have 2 issues. You got 2 middle groups and you got that little table. And I know, trying to get them off the table. And those big chairs. But even if you have to meet like a larger group on the carpet and they sit with you and read because they're bigger, we will figure that out. But yeah, we need to figure out how to combine them. So the questions that I was getting ready to ask you, I understand now Ms. Prince did yours too, right? So yeah, so moving forward, that's another thing that I have to do. That's on my list of things to do. I have taken those DRA surveys and have been making scheduled time to meet with people individually to show them how to DRA based on the things that they said that they needed. So I know you need like all of it so that you can do it, because it really does benefit you to know how they are reading and what kind of miscues they made so that you can do the grouping if she's not around. But, okay. So I was just explaining to Ms. Mitchell, I know this time we did DRA and we had to get it done however we needed to get it done. But the next time that we want to assess, we want to make sure that the both of you can do it with Ms. Prince, because when we get down to this part of it, it really is beneficial for us to know, you know, what kind of miscues and stuff that they made. But we can just kind of generally talk about the kinds of things that you see anyway, because you read with them every day. So you do read with them every day. So what kind of errors do you see in your group of strugglers that they make? Are they omitting words? Are they just not fluent? Because I know when we get to this point, a lot of them, well, not at this low, this is fluency. You know, because they're not able to read on grade level to even begin to comprehend it. So this is a fluency issue. So
I would agree with that with mine. Definitely fluency. But they do tend to omit words. Sometimes they self-correct and sometimes they don't. They just keep going.
So how do you intervene? Now I'm kind of talking about our teaching. So when they are omitting words or if they're making those long pauses, what do you do?
So for my lows, because they're kind of spread, they're not all on the same level. So for Joelle, I do
It's allowed. Because they know how to do it.
So for Joelle, I do pronounce the words because with Joelle, it's just a lack of skill. For those students who omit a word, I will have them go back and say, okay, let me slow down, go back, and then they will self-correct it before I could even tell them that they have omitted the word.
Do you guys